Ladies and gentlemen, so glad to have so many of you here trackside for the JPMC Enterprise Race here at the DeepRacer circuit at reInvent 2022. I'm pleased to be joined by one of the top racers from JP Morgan Chase over the past several seasons, JPMC RogerRabbit. Roger Logan joining me up here in the Bird's Nest. Roger, how you doing?
I'm doing great. I mean, I would like to be holding a trophy right now, but I was really proud of being able to do as good as I did.
You were as close to holding one of those trophies as anyone else, just about. Ended up fourth in the DeepRacer League yesterday, and frankly, it's worth noting, there were 150,000+ developers that took part. You end up fourth. That's pretty rarefied air to end up in.
Yes, and I do have one consolation on that the three guys that actually beat us and did really well, kudos to them. They are the only people out of the top 50 that had their own track printed 3 weeks in advance, and they did that, and it worked for them, and it was rewarded.
Does that raise the stakes now? Looking ahead to the future, does that change what you need to have to be able to compete?
You've got to have an organization like JP Morgan that will help you innovate and prepare you for these races. They have been really good about encouraging all people from different environments, not necessarily developers. We have marketing people involved in racing, and getting those people skilled up, tooled up, and engaged in not just AWS, but machine learning as a whole. And it's really helped our organization.
Now, your run to fourth was full of ups and downs. There was a lot of drama for us as we were talking about it along the way. It seemed like it came down to the very end for you more times than not. Just how nerve-wracking was it knowing all the time that you put into this year that you had a lot at stake there in those final moments?
That's correct. I mean, it is very, very nerve-wracking. There's tons and tons of pressure and tons of environmental variables that you just have to manage. It's a real world. It's not a simulator, so you just have to manage it. And to be able to do as well as we did, I'm really proud of how far we came.
Now, DeepRacer is not your only hobby, and I think our production team might have a video that we're going to show. And so when you were making some of your close escapes over the course of the tournament, I was reminded that you can pull off some pretty nifty tricks with the pool cue.
Yes, I'm an obsessive person. I get obsessed with my work. I get obsessed with coding. I get obsessed with DeepRacer, and I do get obsessed with playing pool. And also my son's baseball, but oh, there it is. Yeah.
Now let's take a look at some of these shots that you've been able to pull off. I was just in awe when I saw this, and credit to Tomas Spread-Centric who shared this on the DeepRacer.io blog. Just amazing, some of these things. It's all about the angles, I suppose, right?
Right. I mean, there were some retakes that were being done,
okay.
But I wasn't able to do all of these in about 2 hours.
Wow.
But yeah, it's I did teach geometry in a previous life.
Okay.
But yeah, there's a lot of angles involved.
More geometry in billiards or in DeepRacer?
Both. I mean, there's more physics involved in DeepRacer.
Okay.
There's more, and that itself creates a lot more variables that you have to manage. But you approach it the same way. You find what works and you work on it. What doesn't work, you have to get good at that too.
Sure.
You can't ignore what you're not good at. You have to work on that part.
What's more stressful, a big shot at a billiards tournament or being on track here in front of all this big live audience for DeepRacer?
This is a tough crowd. It's a really encouraging crowd, but it's a tough crowd. To be fair, they're having the Moscone Cup here in Vegas right now. So some of the best pool players in the world are here, but I'd rather be here.
All right, that's high praise for the DeepRacer community. JPMC RogerRabbit joining us as we watch what's taking place out on the track, the JPMC Enterprise Race, and some of Roger's highlights from his trick shot highlight reel up on the monitor right now. But let's go back to the very beginning for you. Where did the DeepRacer journey begin?
It starts with JP Morgan. I mean, I didn't know about the race until they introduced it to us at our Houston office. They, from the very beginning, they bought tracks for all the major cities. I think we have tracks in 22 major cities. And we have cars, and we started the moment we got in, started, then COVID hit, so we did everything virtually. And some of us got pretty good in virtually, but then we had to switch to physical, and it's a completely different animal. You know, not necessarily harder, just different. You have to manage the environment that you're in.
Was it love at first sight with DeepRacer?
Oh, yeah.
Did you know you were going to be hooked?
Yeah, I was like, our ideas were popping out of my head as I was sitting in a chair, and they were showing me the car, and I'm like, oh, I could do this, oh, I could do that. And every single one of those have been thrown out. And then 10 more after that, I had bright ideas. Some of them worked, most of them didn't work. It's just a repetitive process. You're always coming up with new ideas and trying them out.
If I'm not mistaken, 6 JPMC racers qualified to be in the tournament here this year out of 50. 6 from JPMC, which is the most from any single organization. What does that say about the level of talent within JPMC, and then just the way that they've latched on to DeepRacer as something that is not just fun, but also has benefits for the company as well?
Right. We're seeing people at JP Morgan, we're seeing people move into roles involved with machine learning because of DeepRacer. We're seeing people getting up certified because of their involvement in DeepRacer. And it has really been, across the board, a really good thing about not only for the company, but for their careers.
Looking ahead to next year, we're already thinking about 2023, of course. The 2022 season only ended a few hours ago this morning. What do you have planned? Are we going to see you back? And what are your aspirations?
Well, I hope to be back. You know, I know that we're going to have a lot more competition because every year the competition has gotten tougher and tougher and tougher. I mean, look at, there's a guy that's here, JPMC Wacky Racers.
Yep.
That guy just got involved not too long ago, and now he's a top contender. That guy's going to be a force to reckon with next year because he's very smart and he's very driven. And just, I'm seeing people that I've never seen, new faces every time I get online with DeepRacer, not just inside of JP Morgan, but across all the organizations. We're seeing a lot more people get involved.
And with that in mind, for those that are standing trackside, you don't have to be a JPMC employee, to be clear, to get involved with DeepRacer.
Right.
If you would like to, you tell them, first of all, why. Why would this be a good idea? And then what's the best way to reach out and to get started?
Well, this is using, we have a community out there in the Slack community that's encouraging everybody and helping them with their talent in DeepRacer. But DeepRacer, you have to realize underneath the hood, we're using AWS SageMaker, we're using AWS RogerRabbit, there's EC2 instances involved, S3 Bucket, AMI images. We're using all of these tools and services that are provided by AWS, and using them, you have to get to know them. And getting to know them, well, what's the next step? You get certified. What's the next step after that? You apply those skills in your team at your company. I mean, you look good. The company looks good. You know, AWS looks good in having you. You know, so this is a really good thing all around. I tell people who don't know anything about DeepRacer, this is hands down the #1 vehicle for introduction to machine learning. AWS has done all the heavy lifting, and you only have to do a few things to be a competitive racer.
Fantastic stuff. Hey, it's been so much fun getting to know you over the past few seasons, getting to tell your story. Thanks for playing along, and I hope to see you again more next year.
Thank you so much, Ryan.
Ladies and gentlemen, JPMC RogerRabbit, 4th in the DeepRacer League in 2022.